Hey, what's up you guys? This is Rob from A Gay Guy Plays, and today on the Overkill, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. Instead of showing you a specific build, I'm going to show you exactly how I optimize pretty much all of my primaries. Now I know I like to keep things on my channel really light. I make a lot of dick jokes and freak out about animal genitalia, and it's easy to see why some people may not take me seriously. But I do spend a lot of time crunching numbers on builds, playtesting, and theory crafting. So I'll be honest with you. There are a ton of build videos out there that pretty much give you the same builds over and over again, saying that they're the best top damage builds for Weapon X, when realistically it's just the same basic optimized build. Instead of making a gazillion boring build videos, I figured that I'd make a single in-depth guide on how to optimize your primary weapon builds. Note that this will focus mainly on rifles, but you can use the same principles on building your shotguns too. Let's jump into the build. So first on the list of our priorities, we start with base altering mods, the primary one being serration and an optional one being heavy caliber. So base altering mods are incredibly important because they have an effect on the entire build. They increase elemental damage, crit damage, damage per second, ammo efficiency, and etc, etc. Now note that I did say that heavy caliber is an optional base altering mod. Due to its effect on accuracy, you have to ask yourself whether the loss will negatively affect the weapon's damage, and whether the increase is worth it or not. In some cases like the Ignis, the loss in accuracy is no big deal, while on weapons like the Torrid or the Ogress, the accuracy loss results in some really funky targeting. Or in the Paris Prime's case, in my opinion at least, the split in arrows may actually be more beneficial at taking down multiple targets at once. Now, I personally stopped leveling my heavy caliber at rank 8 due to its escalating accuracy costs, and that's pretty much where it's gonna stay. The one thing you do have to keep in mind when considering heavy caliber is that rank 6 you are basically doubling its base damage, which means in effect it's like you're firing off a second bullet, so if you're worried that the loss in accuracy may affect your multi-shot negatively, just keep in perspective the fact that if you land a single bullet, it's like you've landed 2, and if you manage to land both bullets, it does the damage of 4. Speaking of multi-shot mods, Split Chamber is the next must in any build. In every build, in fact. Basically, at max rank, you have a 90% chance at firing an additional projectile without using any additional ammo. That's pretty much all I have to say about that, right? Next will be your Elemental combo. So Elemental mods base their damage off of your weapon's base damage. This means that the amount of damage an Elemental mod does is increased by base altering mods like Serration and Heavy Caliber. Now that I've beaten that point into the ground, note that I said combo. It's 2. It's always at least 2. The reason I stress this is the fact that we're looking to exploit the biggest weakness of a specific faction, whether it be Grineer, Infested, Corpus, Void, or whatever DE ends up throwing at us. For more info, I've got a couple guides that go more in depth into the whats and whys of faction-specific modding listed in the description box below, but the breakdown generally goes like this. Radiation for Grineer, Magnetic for Corpus, and Corrosive for the Infested and Void. Now, you can splash additional elements into your build, but it's not next on the list of priorities. However, we will be touching on that a little bit later. Now, as you can see, we only have 3 mod slots left, 4 if you've opted out of Heavy Caliber. These remaining slots are reserved for quality of life mods. Now, these can range from ammo mutation mods, crit chance mods, fire rate mods, and etc, etc. The way you choose these mods all depends on your weapon's mechanics. You're either going to fix something that's wrong or take advantage of something that's good. If you have something like the Synapse, Dread, or Soma, which all have high crit rates, you may choose to take advantage of that by creating what is referred to as a crit build, adding in a point strike to further increase its critical chance, and a vital strike to increase its critical multiplier. Or if you have a weapon like the Ignis, Flux Rifle, or Boar Prime that eat through ammo, you may want to consider putting in an ammo mutation mod to fix the issue. To be honest, other than crit builds, this particular section is really playstyle specific. It comes down to personal preference. I personally am not a fan of depending on status procs to do the damage that the weapon should be doing in the first place. So unless it's a status-based weapon like the Tysis, I'm probably not going to be bothered adding in any status increasing mods. I also put ammo mutation mods into a lot of my builds because I run through a lot of high-level solo survival missions and can't be bothered to bring ammo packs, but you know, that's just me. Now, once you've got your mechanics sorted out, you can consider adding in supplemental damage mods. The rule of thumb goes, Bane mods work well on Grineer and Infested factions due to varying elemental resistances and weaknesses, while splashing Toxin is a good idea for Corpus, and splashing Cold does well versus the Void's Corrupted. Now when it comes down to Bane mods versus pure elemental mods, the way it works out is, if an element that doesn't currently exist in the elemental combo is added, it needs to deal at least 50% bonus damage to that faction in order to out-damage the Bane mod. But here's the caveat. Most elemental mods only apply to specific enemy units, while Bane mods will work on every single enemy unit as long as they're a part of that faction. So in the end, Bane mods may end up outpacing an additional elemental mod. And that's pretty much it for how I build. First, increase the base damage, next add in multi-shot, then pick your elemental combo, add in your quality of life mods, then finish with any supplemental damage mods. So I hope this helped you guys out, or at least gave you my perspective on how I like to build weapons. And while I do like overkilling things, I'd rather not waste your time with repetitive content. Unless of course it has to do with the comparison of specific bodily fluids to popular beverages. Because frankly, I'd rather be making you laugh, or at least attempting to and failing awkwardly, than spamming your sub boxes with boring shite. So thank you all for watching another episode of The Overkill. Be sure to do the thing that I asked you to do at the end of every one of these, and as always, stay tuned for more dick-driven content here at A Gay Guy Plays.
Incoming transmission.
Hey Loki, it's Rob. So, we got some slack in the Paris Prime vid. Could we possibly get a retake, but, maybe with the Dread this time? Yeah, sure, I guess, but, who is this? And how are you calling me?